and welcome to your activity number 1 for photos. Everyday objects. There's a beauty to be discovered in everyday objects when we look closely at their unique shapes and textures and patterns. If I zoom in on this, I can really see some texture and pattern here on that stapler, which is just an everyday object. We can use these objects to help tell stories. Today you're going to discover how to photograph objects in a lot of different lighting, different angles, and even adjusting the focus and exposure of your images. You'll be practicing using some editing tools in the Photos app, and you're going to then bring your photos to life. Let's get started. The first thing I want you to do is to photograph something familiar. Photos capture the way light interacts with people, places, and things. And things can look different when photographed in alternative lighting conditions and from different angles. We're going to start a project with finding a familiar object and then taking a few different photos. When I say go, you're going to pause the video and you're going to try this on your own. But first, let's look at 2 examples, one from the book and one from Miss Ashley. First, choose a subject. Pick a small, interesting object that you can move around easily. Here, they chose a watering can. Then, find a neutral background, clear from any distraction in the background for your audience. Then, you're going to take a photo. Hold the camera down, click the button, and I like to hold it with 2 hands and make sure that my finger's not covering the hole and that it's very steady. All right, let's try this together before you try it. I'm going to move over to my camera app. You can see that I found an ordinary object. You can see that in the background I've cleared out a lot of space. And now I'm going to just hold it steady and take a photo. All right, so holding it steady, I can do a couple different angles and take a photo of my everyday object. All right, I want you to pause the video there, find your everyday object, and just take a simple photo. Now that you are back to the video, we are going to move on to continue to experiment with some different angles. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to go off and try shooting from overhead. That means on top of your object. Get very low. Rotate the iPad so that the camera is close to the ground. Get very close and fill up the screen. You're also going to adjust the focus and the exposure. You can make things brighter by tapping on the screen and then raising your finger or darker. Let's look at their example and then you'll see Miss Ashley's and then you'll try it. So here's a photo where they got very close to their everyday object, which was a watering can. Here they got a different angle of the object. And here another angle of the object. And here another angle of the object. And they've even changed some of the background. I can also see that some of these photos are lighter. Let's try with Miss Ashley. Here I go into my camera app. Now I see my everyday object, and they talked about finding different angles. So maybe I could take a photo, and I know my camera lens is on the bottom right, so I could take a photo from underground. That makes my object look very different. I could also take a photo from above. That also makes it look very different. I'm going to find just one more angle here. I get close. And now I want to show you about the exposure. When you click the screen, you see this little sunshine, and you can just raise your finger up or raise it down to change the exposure. All right? So now I want you to pause the video and try to shoot from different angles and try to change the exposure by tapping the center of the screen and moving your finger up or down on the iPad. Go off and try it, and then come back and push play on the video again. If you're back with me, you've already played around a bit with your object. Now it's time to change locations. You're going to experiment with different light sources. Take more photos. Look for details and patterns that reveal themselves in different light. You're going to try to take some outside in the sunshine, then move to the shade, then go indoors with maybe a light right shining on your object. Okay? Then you can review the photos, compare all the results, and click a heart on the ones you like the best. Remember, you're going to be making a collage of your best photos today to add to the Padlet. Let's look at their work. Here you can see the light is coming in from the right-hand side. Here you can see they're outside, so it's much brighter and they've changed their angle. Here's another great photo that you can't even see the color of this anymore because the sunlight is coming from behind. Oh, and here they found some natural patterns. And here they're back inside. Let's take a look at with Miss Ashley's example. So I'm gonna go back to my camera. All right, and now I have my everyday object. I'm gonna move it right into the windowsill. Now I have a little bit more light and I can play around with some of the direct sunlight. Now you're gonna wanna take your object. Oh, here I found some great patterns. Wow, another angle and some patterns. Now I'm guessing there's some patterns within these leaves as well. Wow, I love this one. It's too dark, so I'm just gonna lighten it. And then when you go off, I'm gonna go off and I'm gonna take a few more pictures in different lighting. So now go off and try that. And then you can click heart on your favorite ones. So let's go and I'm gonna show you how to do that. Now that I have all these photos, if I really like one, I'm gonna click the heart button. And here's another pattern that I really like. And you can choose your favorite photos. We're gonna save those later to post on Padlet. I hope this activity was fun. Maybe you wanna join me again for activity number 2